Hello everyone, and welcome to a new series we're doing called Monster Manual Arts, or MMA, because I like to feel clever. So what are we doing in this series? Well, for starters, one of the big problems with the old D&D, the 5th edition, is that the way they told you to build combat encounters simply did not work. Even at like mid-levels, you could do a hard encounter, and your players would still roll over the hard encounter very easily. And then, especially once you started getting into the later levels, there was just simply nothing that monsters could really do to keep up with those stronger players. So it became a problem, and then especially at earlier levels, like it was really easy to end up with an encounter where the players were dying because the dice decided that they didn't like anyone today, and they chose violence. So the question that I think comes up with this new edition, and I've already seen people like saying like this system does not work, is that they're saying, well, the players are too powerful now, the monsters weren't buffed enough to compensate, so now they're still not going to be strong enough. And I have not really DM'd at those higher levels, or even DM'd as much as I would like to. So the result is that I really can't say with certainty whether these people are correct or not. Like, I presume that they have some, more experience with this kind of thing. But at the same time here, we do not take assertions as fact. We test them with science. So that is what we're going to be doing. So I have my Dungeon Master's Guide right here. And what we're going to be doing throughout this series is we're going to be creating easy, medium, and difficult encounters for each level of gameplay. And we're going to see how well the instructions of how to build an encounter match up to the actual results of the encounter. So let's just go ahead and go and see what Wizards of the Coast thinks each level of difficulty is going to be like. So low difficulty. An encounter of low difficulty is likely to have one or two scary moments for the players, but their characters should emerge victorious with no casualties. One or more of them might need to use healing resources, however. As a rough guideline, a single monster generally presents a low difficulty challenge for a party of 4 characters whose level equals the monster's challenge rating. So that right there, low difficulty, you shouldn't really need to pull out all the stops. Like maybe you'll need a potion, maybe you'll need a lay on hands or like a low level healing spell, just enough to kind of top you off. But otherwise, nobody should really be dying unless the dice really conspire against you hard. Like those monsters better be rolling 20s like nonstop. Moderate difficulty. Absent healing and other resources, an encounter of moderate difficulty could go badly for the adventurers. Weaker characters might get taken out of the fight, and there's a slim chance that one or more characters might die. So again, upping the difficulty, so a moderate encounter, players need to take seriously. In party composition might have an effect on it, like if you don't have anyone that has any healing, or if you don't have the healing potions that you will likely get as a party, or if you don't have any sort of like control resources, support spells, things like that, then it's going to be a little more difficult. And it'll be a little more difficult in general, but still people should not be dying unless, again, it just happens that the squishy wizard takes a critical hit, goes down, and then needs to be revived in some way. But otherwise, it should still not be a huge problem. It's just a slightly harder obstacle. High difficulty. A high difficulty encounter could be lethal for one or more characters. To survive it, the characters will need smart tactics, quick thinking, and maybe even a little luck. So that right there, again, a hard difficulty encounter, you can probably expect some character deaths. But again, with deaths in 5th edition, it's not as big of an issue. But at the same time, it's like you could avoid that, but you're just going to have to be smart. You're going to have to know your spells. You're going to have to go unprepared. You're going to have to make sure you have all your magic items ready. You're going to have to make sure the spells that you want prepared are prepared. You're going to make sure you're going to want to make sure you don't just go in guns blazing to the boss's lair or something like that. You have to play smarter, not harder. So that right there is going to be the framework by which we judge this. If my characters are going into a high difficulty encounter and they are steamrolling it, that's a problem. If if my characters are going to an easy encounter and they're having difficulties with it, that's a problem. And the moderate should be, somewhere in between. Like it shouldn't be super easy, but it shouldn't be super difficult either. So obviously, this is not going to be the results are not going to be the same for every level, because I think definitely at lower levels, those weaker characters are going to have, they're just by definition they're going to have less health. They're going to have less resources to use. Like we're starting with level 1 characters, so they're not going to have subclass stuff. They're not going to have any bells and whistles. They're not going to have any magic items. So these might be a little harder. I have a feeling the easy one is going to be just as easy as it sounds. But as we go through the series, we're going to go back and we're going to look and see if this actually holds up the way it should. Because honestly, in a game like D&D, if they're saying, hey, this is how you build encounters, and you build the encounters that way, the results should be reflective of what they say they should be. Because otherwise, you just have the same problem with, 5th edition, is that it's like, well, now I have to basically ignore all the rules, and there's always a level of needing experience as a DM, but if you are a brand new DM, you should be able to follow the rules for encounter building and get the results you want, more or less. Like honestly, there's going to be times where players are just really clever and they find a way to bypass the hard boss fight, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that you made a bad encounter. It means that your players were clever. Like that's what the hard encounter should be. Your players use their spells in unique ways. They thought quickly, and they just thought a little quicker than you, and that's okay. But for this, I've created 3 encounters, easy, medium, hard for level 1. I've created 4 new level 1 characters. And I also want to explain why I made the characters the way I did. For starters, it's been that the most common D&D party is a fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and a wizard. And that's partially because those classes go all the way back to the earlier editions, the 1st edition. And it has a good variety. So you have a spellcaster, you have a support caster that can also kind of melee, you have your skill monkey with a little bit of combat, and then you have your big beefy frontliner. But one of the things I thought of is I was curious as to whether this actually was still true, as to whether this was the most common played D&D party, because for the longest time it was. So I looked up the statistics, and it is, but it is currently tied for a party composition of a fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and a sorcerer. So D&D being a game that, naturally has to, do new things, evolve, obviously sorcerers not a thing in 1st edition. So I think it's interesting to kind of give that modern bend. So instead of doing the wizard, we're going to be doing the sorcerer for that 4th party. And again, this is the most common 4-party composition. So we're going to be doing that. As for the characters as they are and what I decided to take or not take, one of the things I did is, for one thing, I went rules as written. So pretty much like I didn't do any custom backgrounds or anything like that. But what I did was I chose a random race for each class. So what they are, because as a DM, you don't know what your players are going to pick, but let's assume they go with the most commonly picked, classes for a 4-party composition. But you don't know if they're going to be a halfling fighter. You don't know if they're going to be a tiefling wizard or a, Goliath rogue. You don't know what they're going to pick. So I randomized the races and went ahead and just made characters based on that. So that's where their species background comes from. For backgrounds, I just went with the background that I felt would be best for the character, mostly, partly in flavor, but also mostly in statistics. So, like our fighter, he's going to be a soldier because he has that strength and constitution. The other thing is I went with the standard array recommended for each class in the book, and I made one exception, and that was for the fighter, because I imagined it as being a strength fighter. And so what I did is, all I did was I switched the constitution and the dexterity on that standard array. So it's still the standard array, but the difference is that, like when you're playing a strength fighter, you don't really need dexterity as much, like unless you're going to be like utilizing a crossbow now and then. But even then, with the scores that they give, Constitution, Dexterity, you're still going to have good dexterity and you're still going to have good con. But I think as a frontline fighter, it is more important to have that Constitution. So I just swapped those two stats. So that's the only thing I changed. Otherwise, in terms of things like spell selection or options, what I did is the book will frequently, like when it goes spellcasting, it'll say like, oh, you get to choose 4 cantrips from the Sorcerous spell list, for example, and it'll recommend like X, Y, Z, A, you know. And so what I did is that if the book recommended something, I took it. If it was an option, I went with the option that I thought was going to be best for that particular class. So, because again, it's if they're going to recommend something, it should be good and it should be viable. There shouldn't be this thing where they shouldn't recommend a cantrip and then the cantrip is just objectively terrible. But which I think in the book, like I don't know the spells off the back of my hand, but I think it's hard to see any spells that are objectively terrible. And in fact, I think they fixed a lot of the spells, like True Strike is a spell where it's like True Strike used to be objectively horrible. There was no point in taking True Strike. It's good now. So that's what I did. So part of this is random in that I'm acting like I don't know what my player's going to pick. And when we get to subclasses, I will be doing that same thing, is the subclass they pick is going to be randomized between the ones in the player's handbook. Because again, you don't know as a DM what your players have in mind when they choose their subclass. You could easily end up with an aberrant mind sorcerer, which is going to have a whole slew of different things that you have to prepare for as a DM compared to, say, a wild magic sorcerer. So that's what we're going to go with for now. But until then, let's go ahead. I'll see you guys in Roll20 in just a second, and I will introduce you to our characters and the encounters that we're going to be doing today. Alright, so here we are in Roll20. For our first encounter, we have a Scarecrow. And this guy, again, straight out of the Monster Manual, he's not going to be a terribly difficult challenge. His big thing is that he has a Fearsome Claw attack, which, when it hits, the target has the frightened condition until the end of the Scarecrow's next turn. And then he also has a Terrifying Glare. So basically his thing is he's going to make the characters kind of run away in fear. So all things considered, he should be a fairly easy fight. His other big thing is he has a vulnerability to fire. Now, the one thing I'm going to have to stop myself is the metagaming aspect of it. But I also feel like in this case, it's pretty obvious that something made of straw is probably going to be weak to fire. So, again, I'm not going to really... It's kind of like the whole... it's kind of like the troll thing. It's like, by now, most people know that trolls are vulnerable to fire. Next, we have our rogue here, Neville DePaulo. Now, with him, he is your typical rogue. He is going to be using a short sword and a dagger for his attacks. He does have a number of, weapons and tools for his masteries. I gave him Vex and Nick, and this is what's interesting, is that, if you can see here... So, with Vex, when you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll against the creature before the end of your next turn. So, that is on his short sword. And then with Nick, when you make an extra attack with the light property, you can make it as part of an action instead of a bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. So what this means is that this guy is going to be going in. He's going to be hitting with the short sword, and then using Vex, using it to get advantage with this dagger attack with the Nick property, so he can use that as part of the same attack action. And this way, he's going to be laying down that melee damage pretty dang hard. The big thing is that the Nick property does not let him make an additional attack with his bonus action. It just allows him to make that attack with the action. But what that will do is that will free him up for Things like, especially when he gets it later on, he doesn't currently have it, but it's going to be somewhere where he can use that for, things like bonus action dash, bonus action dodge. He can also, it's also going to allow him to use his sneak attack pretty well, because he's going to hit the one regular weapon. If he doesn't have advantage on that, he then gives advantage to his dagger in his offhand, which means he can then sneak attack with the weapon. And all that is, it just means that it's going to be an extra 1d6 damage to one creature you hit with an attack roll, if it has advantage, which the Nick weapon should. Let's see here. Same as the weapon's type. And then it's just, obviously you can forgo the advantage if you have an ally next to that creature, and that ally is not incapacitated. Brave is going to be helpful here, because he has advantage on saving throws to make or end or avoiding the frightened conditions. Halfling Minimalist, not so much. Luck, when you roll a 1 on a d20 of a d20 test, you can re-roll the die and must use a new roll. So if he's rolling a 1 on attack, he can re-roll that, and then hopefully get something other than a 1, and then if he gets a 1, it's like, well, that's just how the dice roll. He also has the Alert Origin. He has Initiative Proficiency, and he can also swap Initiative with another player if they're willing. So that's Neville Deep Hollow here. Next we have our fighter, Trigva the Thunderer, which I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Again, I chose the name from Xanasaurus. He is your typical beefy boy fighter. I originally imagined him as a sword and board, but then they gave a great sword, and I don't think they gave him a shield. Yeah, he does not have a shield of any type. So for now, he is at least going to be the big beefy boy with a great sword. For his masteries, I gave him the graze on the great sword. He's pretty much going to be using that great sword. I don't know what the play is on there. And then as a backup for a ranged weapon, he's going to have the javelin. But yeah, his big thing is he's going to be going in, and he is going to be hitting things really hard. He does have second wind, which will allow him to regain some hit points, and that's that right there. He's also a Storm Goliath, so when he takes damage from a creature in 60 feet, he can take a reaction to deal 1d8 thunder damage to that creature. Again, very good to have on a fighter. Next, Erenath. She is an Elf Aasimar. All that means is that she's basically an Aasimar, but she is a sorcerer. She basically has a dagger. She has a crystal spell focus. Her basic attacks are Sorcerous Burst, Shocking Grasp, and then of course she has her dagger. For her other assorted spells, she has Minor Illusion, she has Detect Magic, she has Prestidigitation, things that you're not really going to see in combat. But she does also have Burning Hands, so that's going to be a 15-foot cone. And that is going to be a 15-foot cone, a Dexterity saving throw, and 3d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. And of course, again, we're going up against a Scarecrow, so that's going to be, fire is going to be useful. But Sorcerous Burst should do it fine, because she can make Sorcerous Burst fire. Lastly, we have our Tiefling Cleric. Her name is Niha, and her thing is, I basically gave her the very typical, cleric, whatever they recommended, so there's going to be a lot of healing in there. She has Guiding Bolt, which is a level spell. She also has Poison Spray, but she does have her Cure Wounds. For her other spells, Thaumaturgy, Poison Spray she gets from being a Tiefling. Guidance, again, nothing that's really going to be useful in combat. She has her Sacred Flame, which is a save. She has Spare the Dying, so that she can stabilize her enemies. She has Toll the Dead. And she has Bless, that's her first level spell. So that's going to be useful to, like when she gets the harder one, she's probably going to lay down Bless right away. And then, of course, she has Shield of Faith. But yeah, so there we go with that. Features and traits. I didn't look at the others. Her origin feat is a healer, so if she has a a healer's kit, she can spend a use of it to attend to a creature within 5 feet of herself as a utilized action. The creature can expend one of its hit die. You then re-roll the die, and the creature gains the hit point. So basically, just more healing stuff. Okay, so let's start this combat. I went ahead and rolled initiative. So it looks like first we have Neville D. Paulo, so I'm just going to put their tags up there. Next we have Trigva the Thunderer. Then we have the Scarecrow. Followed by Araneth. And then Niha last. Alright. Let's get to it. Okay, Neville D. Paulo. Let's go ahead and move. Sorry, did not mean to do that. So let's go ahead and move him. He has a 30 move speed. Actually, you know what? He's going to go ahead and he's going to do a dash. So that's going to give him 60. 10, 15, 20. There we go, 35. Now for Neville here, we're going to go ahead and he's going to do his very typical short sword dagger combo. So let's start with that. Short sword, melee. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So it's a 16 on the short sword. The Scarecrow has an AC of 11, so that's definitely going to hit. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to shrink this a little bit. Sorry, getting used to this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll damage. So that's 5 damage, and we're going to go ahead and Vex. Okay, so that's going to give it advantage. So let's go ahead and go to our Scarecrow. It takes 5 damage. Alright, so next, Neville is going to go ahead and roll his dagger, and that's going to be twice. Okay, so at 22, he made it because he has advantage, so we roll the damage on that. It's going to be another 7, and then he's going to do his sneak attack, so we're just going to do roll 1d6. Oh. Okay, so then another 6 damage. So that right there, that is 13 damage to this Scarecrow. So another 10 is going to bring it down to 12, and then another 3 brings it down to 9. Okay, yeah, so this is definitely turning out to be an easy fight. And now it's going to be Tierbig's turn. He's going to walk up, and then he's just going to go ahead and whack it with his greatsword. Critical. Okay, so with a critical hit out of a 25, let's go ahead and just see what the damage is going to be. So a 7 and a 16. I think our Scarecrow is now soundly defeated. So we're going to go ahead and say that, yes, this was indeed an easy encounter. In fact, it was so easy that 2 of the players didn't even get to do anything. So, again, maybe something to consider. That if you're going to go ahead and do this, you're going to want to make sure that the players, like, you want a combat encounter where everyone can, have a shot. Okay, come on, roll 20. 22 and a 10. Okay, so one thing I am going to do for the sake of ease is that any identical creatures, and this is actually just a good policy for DMs in general, is all creatures of the same type just share an initiative. And again, for the sake of ease, I'm just going to keep the player's initiative as if it's the same each time. So in this case, 17, it's actually going to be exactly the same. Alright, so we'll go ahead. I think I put Neville a little closer this time, again, because it's really not going to matter. This time we're going up against 3 giant wasps. I did kind of try and theme things, so like, you're in a field, a farming field. It's like, okay, what can you have? It's like, okay, well, scarecrows, obviously, maybe there's an evil scarecrow, or in this case, wasps. So again, Neville Deep Hollow is going to go, and he is, of course, going to do his attacks. So attack. 23. These things have an AC of 10. He's going to roll the damage. The damage is 9. And then, of course, he's going to do his Vex. So now we're going to go ahead and roll the dagger. Okay, 22 is definitely going to hit. Damage for that one. 5, and then he's going to do another 1d6. Oh. Okay, and so it's now another 1d6 damage. So altogether, he's doing, what was it here? 9. 9 and 5 is 14. 14 and 6 is 20. That is actually going to be a good portion of this wasp's health, because they have 22. So Neville just eviscerated that wasp. But again, didn't kill it outright. So Tyrvig is now going to stomp forward. And he's once again going to hit it really hard. So an 8. An 8 is actually not going to hit. These things have an AC of 10. But let's see, what else does he have here? But you know what? He has... Where's his masteries? Seriously, where are his masteries? Oh, I'm looking right at it. He does have the grays. So let's see here. Let's see. So if your attack roll misses with a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier. Okay, so he missed with his greatsword. The ability modifier is 3, so that thing is still going to take 3 damage. Let's bring it down to 19. Alright, so next is going to be our sorcerer. She's going to move forward here just enough to kind of stay out of range here. And she's going to go ahead and do a fire Sorcerous Burst. Plus 5 to attack. Okay, 16, that's going to hit. Let's roll the 1d8 plus 3. That's going to be 9. And actually, you know what? In her features and traits... Okay, she's also going to activate her innate sorcery. It's not going to matter too much because all this does is give her advantage, and she already hit with it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 9 fire damage to these things, and I don't think these things have any vulnerabilities. Yep, no vulnerability. So we're just going to do 9 damage to this wasp here, bringing it down to a nice flat 10. Alright, what is Nihal going to do? Let's see, Guiding Bolt, Cure Wounds, 0.3. You know, let's go ahead. She's going to go ahead and use her Sacred Flame. And that's going to be a Dex save, if I recall. Yeah, Dexterity save, and her DC is 13. And she's going to go ahead and she's going to try and hit this wasp too. So we're going to go ahead and go to the wasp. Have it do a Dex save. Dex save 22. It misses. All right. Oh, I skipped over the giant wasp. Okay. See, this is what happens sometimes when you're a DM, and especially if you're trying to play both sides. Okay. So this first wasp is going to go ahead and use its attack. Ooh, that's a 20, not a crit. So that's going to be 1d6 plus 2 piercing, and then 1d4 poison damage. So that's going to be 9 damage to Neville. Ooh, that is not great. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, wait, did I? Neville? Okay, hold on a second. Oh, Neville is out. Okay, so Neville is now KO'd, and next turn he's going to have to start making saves here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have this one attack tier big. So 7, that is not going to hit. Wait, hold on a second. Oh yeah, because it was it was 20. Okay, so that is. So 7 is definitely not going to hit tier big. He has a nice beefy AC. But then we're going to go ahead and we're going to have. Oh, hold on. We're going to have this other wasp gang up on him. So we're going to do another attack. 16, I think that's going to hit. Where's his AC here? Oh no, 16 is not going to hit. He just barely got protected on that. Alright. Okay, so now we are up to the top of the round because we accidentally skipped him. So let's go to Neville. Neville has to start making these saves here. Oh, a failure. So let's go ahead. Tyrgreave, he's just going to keep swinging with his great sword here. Critical hit, 25. Okay, so now we're cooking. So let's do damage. Damage of 13, crit damage. Damage of 14. This thing is gone. That is one bug biting the dust. Let's see. So now the giant wasp. Giant wasp, I'm going to say, is, and this is DM advice. Play your creatures the way they would. In this case, these wasps aren't animal. They're trying to get rid of invaders. One is down. It's going to go to the other threat, especially since it just saw its buddy go down. So giant wasp is now going to attack Tyrvig. 12, not going to hit. Tyrvig's nice beefy metal armor. Ooh, but 23 will do the trick. Okay, so 1d6 plus 2, 1d4. So that's going to be 9 damage altogether. Okay, Tyrvig, he should be able to tank 9 damage. There we go. So Tyrvig is at 3 health. Now, of course, our resident sorcerer, I believe, has some healing. I thought she had healing. Nope, Sorcerous Burst. Rebuff for spells. Okay, no, she does not have healing. But she's also not going to do Burning Hands while Tyrvig is in the way. So instead, she's going to go ahead and she's just going to Sorcerous Burst that one wasp that got eviscerated. Oh, wrong one. Alright, another Sorcerous Burst. 24, that's going to do the AC, and 1d8 plus 3 is going to be 11. I'm pretty sure that wasp is dead. Yep, that one is dead. Dead, dead, dead. Alright, so next we have Niha. So now this is actually going to be a good example, because we're going to have her do her, she's actually going to go ahead and use the utilize action for her healing kit. So let's see here, inventory. Should have a healing kit. Oh, does she not get a healing kit? Oh, am I thinking differently? Hold on a second. I think I have things backwards. Hold on. Features and traits. Oh, did she just not get one as part of her? I thought she had one too. No, it's an herbalism kit. Okay, so Niha is instead going to have to do a spell, which is fine because her heal is basically a touch range anyway, so she's going to go ahead and do that. Nope, not. Oh, I see. So 12. So Neville is now really back from. So we're going to stabilize 12. So with 12 healing, he is back up and running, and he's going to go ahead and take revenge. He's going to move here. Going to go ahead and do the short sword again. 21 is going to hit. Damage for that is 6, and then he's going to follow up with the dagger and the damage for that, and it's a crit. So we got 6, 4, and 8, so that's 18. I have a feeling this wasp is down. Oh no, it's not. It actually hasn't taken any damage, but it's close. So with 18, it's down to 4 HP. And I'm sure Tyrvig with all of his might is going to miss, but he's still going to do 3 damage because he has his graze. So that's going to bring it down to 1. And that giant wasp did not like Neville. Oh, another 19. So 3. Okay, so at 5, Neville's fine. But I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and probably just call it here. Oh, no, 7. She's going to miss. Niha, what you got for us? Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and guiding bolt that thing. Okay, it's going to be a first level spell slot. So cast 11 is going to hit. And I'm sure the damage is going to be enough. Alright, so I think that one actually went very well. Again, it was interesting because we did have Neville go down. He went down to pretty much exactly 0 hit points. And but then he got back up. So that was really good to see. Good to see that again. Just like the guide said, like in the absence of healing, that would have been a problem, especially if he was below health. But in this case, he hit 0. He was able to get healed, and it ended up working out for everyone. And even then, I would say, like, granted, that was partly because we had our healer here. Did I? Oh, I deleted one of the things. But yeah, so they had the healer there, and that made all the difference. So who did I delete? I deleted Neon, didn't I? Okay. No, it's not what I want. Sorry, I've actually never used Roll20. All of my sessions have always been in person, and I was gonna do a Roll20 campaign, but it's kind of fallen through at this point. So give me one moment, because I'm gonna have to set up the next one. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and roll all new initiatives for this one because we have quite a bit of build up here. So, Okay, here we go. Here is going to be our hard difficulty. We've already done all the initiatives, and this is actually a good example of why Neville's initiative feat or his initiative ability is really good, because he rolled really low and Niha rolled really high, so he switched with them, so now he can go in and do his thing real quick. So for this hard encounter, I went ahead and went with the Modrons, and I went with a Quadrone, a Tridrone, and two Duodrones. So yeah, this is going to be a tough one, and they're going to have to use everything in their disposal. That said, I really don't see how much some of the items are going to come in handy. With the Scarecrow, a lot of them get oil as part of their initial loadout, and that's one where if you make an attack, you can also replace it with throwing an oil flask, and then you can use that to get extra fire damage. Extra fire damage in addition to the fact that it's something vulnerable to fire. In the case of these guys here, they do not have that many immunities, and I really don't see how well the fire damage is going to stack up. But we're going to go ahead, and we're going to go anyway. So we got Neville first, and he's going to do his typical run forward. So go ahead and do a short sword attack, which is not going to hit, not with an 8. These guys actually have some decent AC. They pretty much all have 15, with the exception of the Quadrone, which has 16. So the Tridrone here, he's going to go ahead. Let's see here. What's the speed again? Okay, Tridrone's. Okay, so his speed is 30. I think he's immediately going to come to the aid of his Duodrone ally here and attack Neville. Poor Neville, he's just not going to catch a break today. Oh, but with a 7, I'm pretty sure that is not going to hit Neville. Nope, not with an AC of 14, so he escapes that. But the Tridrone, I believe... Yeah, he actually makes 3 attacks, so let's go ahead and make 2 more. A 12 and a 7. Okay, does the 12 hit? The 12, okay, so he misses all those strikes. Okay, Quadrone here. He also does a multi-attack. He can do... Let's see here. Yeah, the Quadrone can make 4 different attacks, but he also has a ranged attack, so he's going to go ahead and do 1 to each character. So, Neville, okay, Tear Grief. Then we'll go ahead and do Niha. Oh god, he's hitting all of those. And then lastly, Iranileth. Okay, 14. Pretty sure Nileth does not have 14 AC. Nope. Okay, so he's hitting with all of those. This is definitely one of those high damage encounters. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead. We'll do them again. We'll just do Neville first. Neville takes 4. Tear Grieve. Or Trinket takes 5. Then we'll do Niha, 6. 5, 6. Okay, and then we'll do Arang. Escape. So 4, 5, 6, 6. So 4. Then let's see, Niha. Oh, and Irene is really hurting at 2 HP. Okay, this is definitely a hard encounter. So Irene left. Okay, what is she gonna do? I think she's got to really pull out the stops here. Okay, so she's going to go ahead. She's going to move right here, which seems dangerous. But now we're going to go ahead and do a 15-foot cone. Okay, move this over here. So cone. Let's see here. Oh. Okay, 15-foot cone right there. So she's going to be able to get every one of those drones right there. Now the big question is trying to remember the DC for this spell. Okay, so dexterity saving throw 3d6 or half as much. So, oh no, not the quad drone. So tri-drone, dexterity save has to be 13. It makes it, okay, but it takes half as much damage. So next we have the Modrons. So for the top one and for the bottom one. Okay, bottom one is not going to make it. So I'm just going to slash roll 3d6. Okay, so 13. So this guy here. Oh, that's why. So this guy here is going to take the full 13. He only has 11 health. He's dead. So these guys are going to take half of 13. So that's going to be 6 because I believe you always round down if I recall. Oh wait, hold on. That should be 7 because 13 minus 6 is 7, Corey. And then another 6 from him is going to make it 10. Alright, so there we go. Neha, in the meantime, really needs to help everyone. Let's see here, 9. I think it's... Oh, wait. Yeah, I think it's her that needs the most. So she is going to go ahead and do... I rolled past it, didn't I? Here we go. Cure Wounds on Arain. Level 1 spell slot cast. 9, okay. So that is pretty much going to bring Arain up to full. Yeah, because she only has 8. Okay. So there we go. See, again, healing is going to be the thing that helps. Trigva is going to go ahead and move up, and he is going to smack the guy that's smacking his friends. So again, great sword. 7 is not going to hit these things. Okay, Modron Duodrone. There's only one of them left. And let's see here. So he can make 2 clockwork blade attacks. They can be ranged. But he's going to go ahead and he's going to whack Neville with both of them. So 12 and a 4. I think the 12 is not going to hit Neville. Nope, not with 14. Neville is fine. And he did not like the fact that he got attacked. So Neville is going to again do his very typical short sword, which is not going to hit. And then he can't do Vex. But he... Oh, no, he doesn't even... Oh, yeah, no, he's not going to get a sneak attack. Oh, but he does get a critical. Okay, so let's roll the damage on that, and then roll crit damage. So that thing's going to take 10, which is going to be more than enough. Because this thing had 7. So that Duodrone goes down. How do I keep doing that? Okay, Duodrone goes down. Next, we got that Tri-Drone. That Tri-Drone is... Tri-Drone is going to go ahead and take out Trigva, because I think that's going to be the big attack. Oh, wait, no, I'm on the Quadrone. Wait, no, I'm on the Tri-Drone, so... He's going to try and hit Trigva 3 times. And he only hits once, but it's crit, so... Rolls the damage. That's 7. Rolls crit damage. Also 7. Oh, Trigva is taking 14. I think that's everything from him. Yep, Trigva is down. What the heck? Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, Trigva is down. The quad drone is going to go ahead and take aim probably at Neville. I think Neville's going to be like the dangerous one in his mind. So again, it's going to do ranged attacks. 17's going to hit. 17's going to hit. 16's going to hit. Oh, okay, Neville, you poor baby. Okay, so roll the damage. 4. We'll just keep rolling damage. 6 is 10. 3. And 4. Okay. So now here's the thing: is technically those are all different attacks. So I think what ends up happening, if I recall correctly, okay. So hold on. Let's go with the. Okay. Oh, did I roll too many times? 2. Okay. So let's just. So 4. He survives. 6. He goes down. 3, because he took damage, it's a fail. And then 4, because he took damage, is another fail. So he is 2 failures into being gone. That is not good. Okay. Erin, she has 1. Oh god, she only has one spell slot left for that healing touch. Let's see here. Does she have anything? Need sorcery. Oh, she does have her healing hands from her species. As a magic action. Okay. I think in her mind, Trigva is the one who needs to be up and running. Oh wait, no, she's not the healer. Oh, but she does have healing hands. Okay, you know what? So, number of d4s equal to proficiency bonus. Okay, so she's going to use that. That's probably what I was thinking of earlier. Roll 2d4. Okay, 3 and 1. So that's 4. She's going to use that to heal up Trigva. So stabilize. 2, 3, 4. Alright. And now Niha is going to go ahead and use. She's going to use her last spell slot. 13. Okay, Neville is back in action, baby. Okay, so stabilize, and then with 13, he is all the way back up. Okay, Trigva. Trigva, man, you gotta pull it together. So I'm gonna go ahead, do a great sword attack on the Tri-Drone. 20, that's gonna hit, roll that damage. 9, I think that's the end of this Tri-Drone. No! Just barely. Oh, that is not good. Oh, and the Duodrone is gone. So okay. Oh, actually, hold on. I know why it's not going away. I'm getting used to this, I swear. Okay. Neville, be that rock star you are. You have an ally next to your target, so you have advantage. Okay, yep, this is going to be the end, because damage, crit damage, he doesn't even need to use his sneak attack. So that thing is dead. That means the Tri-Drone can go away. So all that's left is the Quadrone. This is actually getting really good here. Okay, so Quadrone, I think he's going to do what he did the first time, and he's going to distribute the damage evenly, 1 attack on each player. So, and we're just going to go top to bottom in the initiative order. Okay, so Neville is going to take gear launcher damage. Roll that damage. 4. Okay, but he is still up. Rain is going to do gear launcher damage. 3. Alright. Niha is going to take gear launcher damage. 6. And Niha is okay. Healer is down. Healer is officially down. And then Trigva is the one who managed to get away. So a rain, it's going to move there. She has used all of her... No, she hasn't used her spell slots, has she? Because I think she still has the one. Okay. Okay, a rain. What do you got for me? Okay, spells. Chop grass, Sorcerous Burst, magic. You know what? She's still got that Burning Hands. She's going to go ahead and do it. I remember the DC is 13. She is going to Burning Hands that. And at a 21, it makes a save, but it's still only half damage. So. Oh, dang. And the damage roll is high. So that's 15. So that thing's going to take 7 damage. Oh, not what I wanted. So at 7 damage, it's now down to 15. Okay, but that's all of her spell slots. Niha is down. Okay, so she's going to start making those saving throws. Thankfully... Oh, and that's one failure. Thankfully, Neville did not go down permanently. Okay. Trigva is going to go here. Okay, what does he got? I mean, he pretty much has... That's the sad thing about fighters, is their thing is pretty... Oh, I forgot he had second one. Does he... Oh, yeah, okay. Second wind is a bonus action, right? Yeah, bonus action. So he's going to second wind. He gets 11, so he is back up to full. So that's his bonus action. And then, how many times? Oh, and he can do that again, too. Okay. So let's go ahead. We are going to great sword this guy. Critical hit. Yes. Okay, so damage. Crit damage. 27. I am pretty confident. Yep, that's it. That's the Quadrone down. They have succeeded. That is awesome. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you said like that last one. That last one was really good. I would say again. I'm not going to speak for higher levels yet because we're going to be going through those. But as a level 1 stress test, I think this worked out perfectly because the easy one, two attacks and it was done. It was the rogue went. He did his dual wielding and a sneak attack, and then Trigva came up and he just slaughtered that thing. So again, like that worked perfectly. That was nice and easy. Second one, basically spot on, right in that sweet spot. The bugs got a couple hits off. But generally the players did not have problems. Like they needed some healing, but it was only the one spell. That third one there at the end, though, that was mwah, chef's kiss. That was basically what you want a hard encounter to be, because the players still all survive. Like that's the thing he knows. Like Niha being at 0 and even stabilizing, you can stabilize a creature at any time you want. Like you need to do like a medicine check, I believe it is. But out of combat, I would say like if there's a character who's down and making death saving throws and the combat is over, then I assume that with all 3 of your players making medicine checks, something is. I wouldn't even make them roll. I'd say, okay, you know what? Combat's over. You stabilize Niha. She's good. Yeah, at that point it's roll some dice to do a short rest. But that last one was really good because when Neville went down, I thought that was gonna be the end, and then like again, like I'm playing this, like I'm pretending like I'm those Modrons, like okay, Modrons are from the land, the plane of logic and order. Like they're gonna do threat assessment, so it's like okay, of course, like the stronger Tridrone is gonna go for Trigva. And then of course the Quadrone is going to do support and try and hit them all evenly to weaken them all up for the other, for the minions to kind of go. But that was perfect, and that hit all the points that the DMG said you need to hit. Like one thing it says, like okay, be careful about doing more monsters and players because the action economy is still really screwy. The action economy is always going to be screwy in a turn-based game because the more creatures you have against the fewer creatures you have, those creatures with more are going to get more opportunities to attack. So even if like the fewer creatures are stronger, they can still easily be overwhelmed simply by having more monsters. And that's why they say put weaker monsters in. And so that's why when I'm doing that XP budget, I said, okay, let's do a little bit of stratification here, because these mod drones, like the way the mod drones work in like the D&D lore is like, again, it's like you have the mono drones that take order from the duo drones, that take order from the tri drones, that take orders from the quad drones. So when that happens, like, you're gonna see that chain of command. Like, so I said, okay, I'll do a quad drone, and then he's gonna have a tri drone with him, and then we'll shore it up with 2 duo drones. So those two duo drones were like the fodder. Yeah, like, and then you saw how fast they went down. But no, like, that was absolutely perfect. Like, again, like, it was intense, and like, there was a good chance that those players were gonna fail. But you know what happened is Neville went down. The person that had healing came up and went. I wish I had remembered that Irene Eleth had her healing hands from her species, because I thought she had I knew she had something, and I got it confused with the medical kit, which she has the proficiency for, but she didn't have on her. So yeah, like, that last one was. I'm actually really pleased with how this went. The easy one was easy. The medium one was kind of in that just right, where it's like, okay, you want to throw something at them, but not too heavy. And then that last one with the modrons, like, that was a hard one. Like, that was a good. If you want your players to sweat just a little bit, that was a good one, because like, they had to use their resources, they had to work as a team, they had to cover for each other. That was, again, that was perfect. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I would have been really disappointed if I did this and the Modrons just folded. And honestly, for a bit I was like, I don't want the characters to die, but at the same time, it's like, especially when the Quadrone focus fired on Neville and then basically made him go down and take 2 fail safes right away. That was like, that was my moment where it's like, am I the asshole GM that's killing my non-existent players? But yeah, I hope you guys like that. Sorry it was a bit unpolished again. Like, I've only yet to begin to toy around with Roll20, so a lot of the things I'm just kind of doing out of either instinct and either forgetting that it's something else or doing something else. I'll try and edit those portions out so it's a little smoother. But I hope you guys enjoyed that, because you know what? We're not stopping here, because next I gotta level these guys up, and I gotta throw harder shit at them. But I will see you on that one. Until then, keep doing what makes you awesome. Thank you very much, and goodbye.